I'll be honest. No matter how successful I get in America, no matter how successful I get, I never feel like I belong.
Really?
Yeah. Is everything all good? There's nothing all good anywhere on this earth. You got to think deep about it. No matter how successful you become in America, you can live a very comfortable life. Gated community, big, nice house. At the end of the day,
You never belong.
you never belong.
You always be treated as a second-class citizen.
Always.
I think I've just figured out why 90% of us Africans are crying loneliness here in the United States. So, there's a lot of cultural difference between the United States and where we are coming from. You know how in Africa we can easily interact with everybody. It's not the same here. So in Africa, right, you get to know your neighbors, you get to know their pet name, you get to know their couch, their lifestyles and everything. But here, it's not the same. So when I say it's not the same, imagine you being in your house and then you run out of salt. You want to maybe ask your neighbor to give you a little bit of salt. No, you will not have it because you don't have that kind of interaction with them. What you will need to do is that you need to go to the store and buy it. Then you come home before you even start cooking if it's an emergency. So we Africans, we don't like that. We want to be able to interact with people that are around us. We want to be able to talk Kongosa. We want to be able to put our mouth in people's matter. And unfortunately, that's like something that is not here. So 90% of the time, we're crying that we are lonely because when you come home, you just get into your apartment, undress, eat, sleep, and that's it. And then the next day, you get out again and walk.
What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing good, and I'm happy to see you as always. I welcome you to the channel once again. So in this video today, I want us to talk about the American dream, because as an African kid growing up, it was a wish upon wishes and dreams on dreams that one day things work out and you get this opportunity, this one single opportunity to live this dream, to change your life forever. I don't know if this is becoming a literal dream, literally becoming just a dream, but that is what I want us to talk about today. So I was talking recently. I was on a phone with on a phone conversation with a friend of mine who happened to have relocated to the United States of America. And just on a light note, he tells me that his friends, years after living there, still ask him sometimes if while he's back at home, he comes across lions on the streets. And well, for me, that sounds hilarious. That sounds funny, but it also speaks to this kind of ignorance sometimes other people have. And I don't know if people in the United States, and I don't blame the people, sometimes I blame the system. I don't know if they really understand that the United States of America just makes up for 4% of the total population in the world. So 96% of people live outside of the United States. And the kind of ignorance sometimes other people will just show it's funny, it's perturbing. Now, but that is not the point of this video. I want us to listen to some of the experiences of Africans who happen to have lived in America. Let's hear something about this American dream, and let's have something to talk about at the end of this video. So let's dive into the video.
3 things you find challenging as an African living in America. Number 1, socializing. It is very difficult for an African who just came into America to socialize. Everything is so different. The culture, the food, the people. Even if you see people who are of the same skin color as you are, so long as they are not from Africa, so long as they are not from your part of Africa even, it is very difficult for you to socialize with them. Here in America, a lot of people mind their business. Unlike Africa, where we have everybody being in everybody's business, you know all your neighbors, everybody knows everybody's name down the street. Here is totally different. Everybody minds their business. Nobody is looking to go out there to socialize with anybody. It's so difficult for you to even integrate properly into the society. Again, you are constantly worried how you will be viewed in social gathering. You're constantly being aware of how people look at you whenever you speak. You're unconsciously uncomfortable about what people will think about you, how you dress, how you speak, how you look. So these things make it difficult to actually socialize in America. Number 2 is the food. Now, except you have time to cook your local African dish, or you have the money to spend in the African restaurant in the city where you are, it's very difficult sometimes for you to understand the kind of food that you're seeing around here. So many things that you eat back home, you might not find them at a gathering. Let's assume you go to a wedding, you're already used to eating the normal thing that you eat at your African wedding, but when you come here and you go to a gathering, it's difficult for you to even pick a food because you don't know what it tastes like. When you go to a restaurant also that is not an African restaurant, it's difficult for you to also point out what you want to order. It's very difficult. You don't even know what it tastes like. You don't know what it looks like. So food is one of the challenges one will face as an African here in the US. The third is your accent. Now, you may find it easy to understand, to hear what they are telling you. I mean, everybody speaks English. You find it easy to hear them speaking to you, but you will find it difficult hearing what you say to them. Remember, back in Africa, we are exposed to a lot of American movies, a lot of foreign movies. We constantly hear them speak because we watch a lot of their movies. So we most times will understand them when they speak to us. We understand how they pronounce their words. We understand some of their expressions. But because they are not used to our culture, they don't even watch some of our movies. So most times when you speak, they constantly ask you to repeat yourself. It's not like they are being insultive about it, but that is just the situation on ground. So accent is usually one of the biggest challenges people who come from Africa will actually face in the US. They do not most times understand the things we say or how we pronounce a particular word, but we do understand them actually, but they find it difficult to understand us. Even though we speak a little bit slower, we're not as fast in speaking as they are. We don't use a lot of their expressions. Still, they most times find it difficult to understand how we say things, especially how we pronounce some words. So these are 3 things that you might find challenging as an African living in America.
Disadvantage of living in America. Number 1 is cost of living. Cost of living is very high. House rent, high. I know we earn a lot here. We earn in dollars and all that, but it's high. You might be earning $3,000 in 2 weeks, or $1,000 in 2 weeks. Your house rent might be $2,000, or your house rent in a month might be $4,000. It depends on where you want to live, but cost of living is high. Food is expensive, and they're not good food. Let's not even go there. Okay, cost of living is high. Everything is high here. Transportation, Uber. Don't even go to Uber. Don't use Uber when you come to USA. Don't ever use bus. It's high. It's expensive. It's very expensive. Okay, number 2. Number two disadvantage is healthcare is expensive too. The cost of healthcare is high. You go to the hospital for one thing, maybe for check-up. In fact, before you even go to the hospital, you need to make a reservation. It's not like Nigeria where you can just walk into a hospital like that. If you walk into a hospital, they will charge you for emergency. Hey, and you don't want to know that emergency price, my dear, it's high. If you go to the pharmacy, CVS or anywhere to buy drugs, high. Okay, so number three disadvantage is social issue. Okay, so I mentioned this in my previous video, but somebody was attacking me. I mean it. Nobody send anybody papa for here. They don't care. Even blacks, even your fellow black, they don't care. See, we care for ourselves so much in Africa or in Nigeria more than this country. I promise you, in the USA, I no go talk too much on this one. Nobody send you. If you like, they die for your apartment. They go to see a movie, they shout. They don't go come, oh. Nobody go come for your rescue. Okay, so number 4. What is number 4? Number 4 is the fact that food is not real here. I know the way we eat organic in Nigeria, chicken, organic. In fact, the chicken say we rear for house. They're not organic food here. Okay, some are organic, but the ones that are organic very expensive, and then the ones that are not organic are cheap because they're not good food. That's why everybody is sick here. I will not say too much on that one. Then number 5 disadvantage is the weather. Oh my god, it's good if you get used to it, but if you're just coming winter, as I'm speaking to you, the weather here, I'm so cold. Guys, to live in the United States as an African, it's not easy because now this accent thing is killing. Like, when I leave the house, when I go to school, when I go to work, like, I'm no more myself. I need to pretend to be somebody that I'm not. I need to change accent. I need to talk like these people. God, it's so frustrating. You know, when I go to school, I'll be talking to my friends. I'll be using my Cameroon accent as a Cameroonian that I am. They'll be like, wait, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I can't understand what you're saying. I'm like, oh shit. There was a day I just went to school and I met a friend. I was like, how are you? Hope you're fine. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I can't understand you. Like, come on, how are you, be mommy? So they need to be like, hey girl, what you doing? Hope you're good. How's your day? Like, man, jeez, like, it's not easy. This thing is so frustrating because when I leave the house, when I go out, I can't be my real self. I need to switch to somebody that I'm not because I want to please these people. Like, oh my goodness. I think there was a day I was at school and I was literally talking in the American accent to a friend in school, and my other brother called and he was asking for a Bluetooth speaker. He was like, who's I keep that Bluetooth speaker? Where do you keep it? Oh God. In the midst of my friends, I had to answer the call. I'll be like, check out for another place. Check it. Look. You know what Cameroon accent? No. You know what English? Very simple. And my friend was like, what? Why? I was like, I'm not talking to you. Because anything I don't understand. What are you talking about? Like, it's so frustrating. It's not easy. It's not easy, guys. Please pray for us. Like, I literally need somebody in school that can speak pidgin with. Oh, I'm tired. Like, this thing is frustrating.
Well, after watching those videos, I can clearly say that sometimes it's just true to say there's no place like home. Now, I often hear African Americans rant and vent about how it's also hard to live in America. I've also heard white people really speak about the situation in America. I mean, being so unaffordable. But today we want to focus on Black people, so the Africans in the African immigrants in the United States of America. So from food to accents that they find funny, other people will find it funny, or they just cannot understand. There are a few challenges, I mean, a good number of challenges that sometimes we overlook, but they really are of impact on us on every other day, living with those small challenges like not finding food, not knowing what kind of food to ask for or order in a restaurant. Really might look like small things we overlook, but those could really turn out to be a big challenge for everyday ordinary life. So I was looking at them and I was just really trying to jot out note out the points in which really are things we might overlook, but they're really important. um One of them is being this African versus African American tension, and I hate to think that we Africans and our brothers and sisters, the African Americans, don't really get along so well. I really hate to think, but that is really the truth. And until we mend things, until we really become aware of this and try to work around it, then this problem will always be there. It doesn't matter how many times we might want to pretend it's not there, pretend we're all black people. Because, first of all, Africans don't even rank blackness so high when it comes to their identity. First, they are, for Africans, this is when trying, to identify me, I am an African first, then my nationality, and then my tribe, and then my clan. Being black is not a big deal when it comes to Africans. But being black is really a big thing for African Americans. And we've come a lot of I'm sure you also have come across a lot of instances, or even videos of an existing tension or misunderstanding, let me call it a misunderstanding, between these brothers, these siblings, these sisters, the Africans and the African Americans. So we really need to know that, how far we can stretch, and how far, and what we need to do to take in each other, because we are basically the same people, but after so many years of being removed from each other, we develop different ways to cope with life, cope with the circumstances that were thrown at us. Remember, African Americans really have gone through the bullying of slavery and racism, and that's not so pronounced for Africans. While Africans have gone through the problems like colonialism, and while the problems might be related, they're not exactly the same. But you see, we've experienced that problem in different ways, and we have developed different ways to coping to that challenge. We to all together as Black people, and after all those years, African Americans have chartered their kind of like chartered their own culture, and Africans have their own culture with so many relevances, but there are also a good number of differences that we must accept. We must, really find what really is the common factor for us, and then that can be a unifying factor. Another thing that I noted again is the dating challenge. Might look like a small thing, but this is really important. Um African women and African men don't exactly behave like African American women and men in relationships, because of the cultural differences and the different ways of understanding life. So you might not just end up marrying an African American and think that they're going to behave like your spouse, African spouse, or an African American marrying an African and expecting them to just really behave and know the ways of African Americans. So there is a big challenge there. But I really believe it's just, these are things we really, once we are conscious about, aware about these things, then we can really live harmoniously or work our ways around the same. Then there is the "you must be rich" myth uh, that many Africans especially have to deal with. So most of African migrants going to the United States and to Europe and all other countries abroad are probably not the richest back home, but there are actually people that are trying to seek a better life for themselves and their families. But when they go there, and people think they're probably the richest, and that's how they manage to be out there hustling and working in the United States. Of course, I do not dispute that there are Africans that are already rich in the continent and move out to live out there. But most of those that are going to work, they're purposely going there because they are going to find alive the so-called greener pastures, which sometimes is definitely proving not to be as green as it looks. And then small things like, do you speak African? And once again, this really makes me sad because I've had this question many times. People asking Africans if they speak African, and this is a problem of the system. This is a problem with the education in the United States, I can say, or in other countries. And this is how Africa is portrayed. People don't even understand that Africa is a huge place, a huge landmass of a billion people of different culture, different nationalities, different tribes, different regions with different, very, very different, even though related languages. There is no one African language. There is no one single language called African. But do people really out there really understand our diversity? Do nobody really has taught people out there what Africa is really is like in its beautiful colors. Everybody thinks of Africa as one place and that all of you come from the same place. And you get people, you get an American friend with a Nigerian friend asking if they know another person who comes from as far as the southern Africa, while Nigeria is in the west of Africa. So that's funny. That's also sad at the same time, because it just says what people think of Africa itself as a continent. We really need to tell people out there who we are. And that's hard work to keep trying to explain that I am only African and I come from East Africa, and West Africa is a different place altogether in the continent of Africa. And then we also have the immigration woes, green cards and visas. We have African immigrants with green cards, and you have to keep explaining to those that are feel more American than you that really I am legally an American. I feel like that's a really a big challenge. And then we have the cultural crisis. So with the cultural crisis, the African immigrants really face this um, from the back and from the front. Now, when I say from the back and the front, this is what I mean. So when they are in America, they're deemed too African for America. And when they come back home, they're viewed as too American for Africa. So they're left right there in the midst of a cultural crisis. And then maybe the last point I wanted us to also bring to our attention is the career and the workplace biases, whereby sometimes Africans are really people that have to be overqualified to be accepted in system in America. Just because you have a degree from Africa, they often think it's not good enough, and you have to prove that you're really capable so you can really get that opportunity, get that chance. Now, this video is not meant to really portray America in the bad light, but in truth. It's just to speak to the challenges that African immigrants really face out there in America, seeking that or pursuing that American dream. And we've just sampled a few, of course, a few experiences. There are a lot more right there. But this also brings to the notice of other Africans in the continent and young Africans who are have the desire to go there, not to really discourage them, but to really bring to their attention that it's not all roses and soft life out there. There are a lot of challenges. Others are as big as but those small social challenges like these ones we're talking about also really at some point add up to become uh, a big challenge for you. So as you prepare for your travels, also in the back of your mind, or not even in the back of your mind, consciously be sure that there are a lot more to deal with than you just really expect. Don't just think it is all good and it's going to be so good for you when you will be there. So the point of this video is it's not always the grass on that other side is not always as green as you might think. uh, Maybe it is time for us as Africans to water the grass from this place so that we can enjoy the green grass in our own homelands. How about that? I don't know what you think about that, about this video of today, but thank you for your time. I'd love to really hear what you have to say. Maybe you can share in the comment section below. Please give this video a thumbs up and share this video, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel. So until next time, I'd be happy to see you in my next video. Peace out.